Erik Darling, back with more SP underscore human events goodness. Now, in this video, I would like to go over a little bit about how, or what happens rather, when you logs up to tables now, because some views get created, as you can maybe see by this line of stuff. And we have a new mode to clean up things, which will hopefully not throw any errors now that I am live and looking at this. It worked in dev, which is on my machine, so theoretically it should work here too, but who knows. So in order to get the views to set up, we do need to set up sessions that will log data to tables. So we do that again. I covered this in another video, but to do that, we just set we say which session we want, and we use this keep alive flag here, and that will create all of the extended events necessary to log all that stuff off to tables. And then we need to set up we need to run the logging loop. Now, again, in real life, you would probably want to log this from a SQL Server agent job or something, but it doesn't really take much more than this command to get things off and running. So we'll run that. And now, I am not a terribly religious man, but I feel, I don't know, I guess maybe superstitious in that I always let this run for about 20 seconds, because that gives me a few iterations of the loop to make sure that I don't hit any errors like on the second one or the third one. Like I don't hit any like n+1 errors. So I usually let this run for like 20-30 seconds to make sure that I get a good representation of the loops in there. So we hit 30 seconds, so I'll go in and we'll look at the output now. So stuff you've already seen is where the tables get created. That's fine. But now the magic that happens after we create tables is we will use SP execute SQL local to the database, and we will create these views that look a whole heck of a lot like the code that you would see up in the regular store procedure execution, where we would just present this data off to you. And there are about 13 of these, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time sitting there and staring at them and explaining to you what each query does. You can see I try to give each view a fairly descriptive name, so whenever you see one of these things, or whenever you see the view names, you should, theoretically, as long as all goes well, as long as all is right in the universe, you should see a fairly descriptive view name. Recompiles by database and object is this one, and we are grouping by database and object here, so that's a good start. Recompiles by duration is when we order by the average duration. So there's all sorts of good stuff that you get in these views, and I'll show you these when we get to them. And so all this stuff happens, but the good news is that so these are the inserts. We already talked about the inserts, so that's all good there. And then so that's fun. And then we get these 13 or so views, and the first one will show us any queries. So there's not a whole lot in here right now, which is fine. It doesn't really need to be. I'm just showing you that they exist. So we get all the queries that I've run. We get weights by query and database. Now the one thing I need to mention is that this is a best effort view. I could not find a way to get the extended event for weight stats to grab it's either SQL text reliably or any identifiers for executing queries that ran, so I can get like query hash or query plan hash or plan handle for anything. So this is a best effort. We will reach out to the dynamic management views on the server and try to get that information there. If we can't, we can't. There's just nothing really else I can do about that. But we also check out writes by database, weights by database, total weights across the whole server. There's not a whole lot of great stuff in here because I didn't run things for very long. There shouldn't be any blocking on the server because I didn't set any of that up. Any compilations will be in there. And for some of these, I decided to give you a few different looks at things. I may expand on these in the future. It's already a lot of good stuff in here. But I just, for the compiles and the recompiles and waits, there's a few different views of the data. So that's kind of fun. And then parameterization. There's some there's nothing in there now to look at, but whatever. You get the point. There are 13 views that give you 13. They give you sort of 13 different views of the data. Some of them only have one, some of them have multiple, kind of depending on if I thought it would be interesting to slice and dice the data up. You are free to query the views or the base tables however you wish. Right now they don't relate very well or at all really, aside from event time. So I don't know, maybe long term I'll try to work on some way to relate things together, but for now I don't have a great way to do that, just because there's such a lack of uniformity in what the events can actually pick up and do. Like at first I was really excited to give you compiles by like query hash and query plan hash, but when I went to pick that stuff up, it just turned out to all be zeros. So, and the same thing with recompile. So it's like, there's just not a lot I can do. I'm sort of at the mercy of extended events here, which I'm sure all of you can relate to, and that's why you're here. So if things improve or get better, I'll certainly try to add those improvements in here. But again, I can't make that promise. But anyway, now we have a bunch of stuff running on the server, and say we don't want it running anymore. Let's say we want to get rid of everything. I did not separate the cleanup mode into different ones, like cleanup views, cleanup tables, cleanup events, because I made it so easy to reset things back up. If you need to back up tables first, then feel free to do that. But most people, if they want to get rid of stuff, they want to get rid of everything. So now we have this cleanup flag. And with the cleanup flag, you do need to use the output database name. One slight change that I made in this iteration of the store procedure was to give output schema name a default value of DBO. You are welcome to change that, but for now, I wanted to make it less complicated to get data moving. So now if you choose an output database, we'll default to DBO. If you want a different schema, go for it. It's between you and your DBA, I guess. But anyway, we have this cleanup event now, so at minimum we need cleanup equals 1 and and the output database name. And I'm going to use debug here just to show you what gets output. And yes, no errors. And so what happens is first we will drop all the sessions. Next we will drop all the tables involved. Now I went pretty lo-fi on this, and we just use SP execute SQL local to the database to drop tables all in a row. I suppose I could add like an varchar 10 or nchar 10 or 13 in there to give us a little bit of separation. Maybe I'll go do that when I'm done recording here. It'll change the face of T-SQL. But again, locally we'll also do that for all the views, and then we will have absolutely nothing left. There will be absolutely no trace that we were ever there. So isn't that fun? Isn't that so much fun? Anyway, I guess that's about it. I don't know. I don't really know what there is left to say about it. Maybe I'll go do something instructive now. Who knows? All right. Thank you for watching. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you hit any bugs, if you hit any bugs, or if you have any requests for code in here, please let me know over on GitHub or somewhere. I don't know. Cry to me on Twitter or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching, and happy event extending, or profile or plussing, or whatever you want to call it.